Okay. Okay. It's 6:03. Call to order. December 21st, 2022 Franklin Tourism meeting. Roll call. Ed Hopler.
Here.
Jeff Kadursky.
Here.
Sean Rufka here. Lance Schaefer. Not present. Mark Wiley. Here. And Barb Wesner here. Lance Schaefer. Not present. Mark Wiley. Here. And Barb Wesner. Here. Okay. 6:03. Close. Roll call. 6:04. Citizen comment period. We do not have any citizens in the room. Item number three, the draft minutes approval from November 16, 2022 meeting. We have them all in our packet.
Yeah, I do have one minor correction. Under item 5, Franklin Field Agreement, just the last sentence. Well, actually, the sentence needs to end in light of Franklin Field Agreement. Engage Franklin Agreement. A potential engage Franklin Agreement needs to be at the end of the sentence. Move to approve is corrected.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Field update, Mark Wiley.
We're going to move that to closed session.
Yes. And anything else that we?
No, I had a very good meeting with them. Everything's good. We have one addendum we talk about.
Okay. 6:04. Close the Franklin Field update. Give us a presentation.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Excuse me. This is Patrick Leahy on my team as well, Patrick. So it's good to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to share a few words with you. I know you've got a lot to discuss tonight, so I will try and keep this brief, but I'm open for questions as we do this and afterwards as well. And so I shared with you. And so
Eric, just hold up. So everybody should probably have seen emails come from John or myself about Carl Collective. They've been trying to pitch us for about 6 months now, and kind of finding the strategy of the way that we would want to go this year to have some sort of marketing opportunity to be put in place. So that's why we have Eric here to discuss.
And you do, and you have that handout in your package.
So yeah, actually I have shared on my card, but also importantly shared a copy of that article that's Lara talks on my card, but also importantly shared a copy of that article that's Lara talks more about the firm, as well as the actual scope document too that we'll spend a little time in here on the presentation. There's details in there, ranges and things, but we'll talk about that and go through that. But yeah, I first want to introduce who I am, and I appreciate, again, the opportunity to be here. So, and what Carl Collective is. And it's been a labor of love for me. A year ago, I was maybe a little, this is barely, and I barely knew about this idea a year ago. The firm actually launched in March. It was a phone call from my former college roommate and longtime friend, Angelo Trezzolo, who owns Trezzolo Communication Group, it's referenced in there. And he always wanted to open a Milwaukee PR firm. He owns a large firm in Kansas City, been around 33 years. They're a full communications PR firm. Over 100 clients, 80 employees, $10, $15 million business. And he's always wanted to open one in Milwaukee. He has 2 kids at Marquette, and that was a driving factor, but he wanted to partner with Marquette University and figure this out. And pre-pandemic, he reached out to Marquette. Pandemic slowed it down a bit, but the details too, because it's a little complex to get where we're at, but they figured it out. And that led to that phone call to me about a year ago after I stepped down as mayor. Within a few weeks, I got a call from him saying, Eric, we're going to do this. I'd like you to run it. And what this is a really unique, we think a really innovative partnership, a for-profit partnership, established, very successful, well-respected, regionally and even nationally PR firm with a university to, in a lot of ways, to help people like Patrick, who just graduated in May, and is our first full-time hire in Milwaukee, be better and to gain skills and learn on the job, learning real money, working with real clients for real pay. So in a lot of ways, we're almost like an academic medical center model, but without the life-saving stakes. Maybe I guess communication could save your life, but that kind of model where you're working alongside professionals to do real work. And real learning and then growing your career that way. And you're working alongside professionals to do real work and real learning and then growing your career that way. And so we have a team dedicated to that while surrounded and supported and every day communicating with and collaborating with this larger team of professionals and me in Milwaukee. So right now, it's a full-service firm, advertising, marketing, communications. We can talk more about that if you want, but it's truly full service, and our clients really run the gamut. When you look locally, certainly nationally and regionally, out of our Kansas City firm, from consumer brands to large organizations to governments, and so on, nonprofits. I won't talk about me, but I'm the former mayor. It's a quick 30 seconds about me. I'm the former mayor of the city of South Milwaukee. 2014 to 2021, I stepped down last November, and it was time. And no scandal or controversy. I was just ready. I just started my third term, and I lost the passion, the love of the game. And you don't love that job, and I lost some of that love. So I'd always been a communication professional. I left Marquette, where I met my wife and met Angelo. Again, 25, 30 years ago, I left as a journalist for 10 years. Did some freelance work too after that, but became a corporate communicator for 12 after that. Miller Coors, Miller Brewing Company, Molson's downsized pre-pandemic. But I did 12 years at Miller Brewing and Molson Coors at the end, and then became my own independent contractor. I had my own firm, Brooks Communications, till that phone call came a year ago. So this has been a labor of love for me. It's been a chance to reunite personally with my alma mater, literally wife. 25, 30 years ago at the newspaper where I met Angelo. I have a chance to reconnect and really help students and really guide people like Patrick. And Gabby is pictured on the left there. We just hired, she literally accepted an offer today. She's our second full-time employee. We also have a team of 5 students. That's currently, I'll call Gabby in that list. We have a student general manager, student associates. Again, doing work on real client work. Depends on the client every day and learning as they go. And I learn from them as well. It's been a labor of love, like I said, for me. But yeah, that's Call Club. I mean, it's entirely unique in that we don't think there's another for-profit university partnership like this. There's a lot of student agencies, but for-profit piece to it, and this idea of this larger established firm working alongside the students. So that's our point of difference. Of course, I bring a certain skill set and experience. Students do. This idea of Gen Z, insights from Gen Z, we think is really significant here, and I think could be really significant for the city of Franklin. And I think could be really significant for the city of Franklin. I'm telling that story, and I mean, we have one here. So, Patrick, who are you?
Hi, so I'm Patrick. I work on, I'm actually an account. I was originally a student GM, then I got hired full-time after the summer. Student GM, then I got hired full-time after the summer. Eric and Angelo came and spoke in my class and talked to me. And it kind of sold me. It was like the only way that right after college, even with like internship experience, you could get right out into the field and start doing what mattered. So, I mean, I got really lucky to get
Just in May, right?
Yeah, just in May. So, I'm more than like 6 months.
And a rising star. I mean, so was Gabby, who we just brought on board, and we're lucky to keep these people around and put them to work for you and for all of our clients. And we think that people like Patrick can provide a really strong, already with great skill set and growing skill set and experience as well. Students that support graphics, a really, really talented graphic designer. That's the woman on the right. That's Stella, the junior. We have the best videographer, video producer in the college, if not the university, working for us. We're doing a lot of great video work now. That's Charlie. We've got people with all different skill sets and interests that are working with us, trying to build their skills and also put their skills to work for clients. Speaking of clients, here's a list of some of our local ones. I'm going to spend a little time for this slide talking about one specific one. That's our Kansas City, one of our Kansas City clients, because it's on point with the city of Franklin. But a few small ones, a few bigger ones, a few growing ones. A couple Marquette clients. We just presented a significant proposal Patrick led on increasing student attendance at volleyball and basketball games for women's basketball and women's volleyball at Marquette. Center for Peacemaking, we're doing 8 video vignettes, about 1-minute videos telling the story of that really unique enterprise at Marquette. Those are some Marquette ones, but we've got our big, you may have recognized Flex Ride Milwaukee, which will be coming soon to Franklin. As they expand, a new transit service mobilizes the organization, bringing it to life. I've been personally and now as a firm serving Mobilize for a couple of years now. I just met with Dave for lunch, Dave Steele from Mobilize today. planning to expand that relationship in 2023. So now I just met with Dave for lunch, Dave Steele from Mobilize today, planning to expand that relationship in 2023. So the students were doing social media for FlexRide this summer. We were doing media event, we were doing event planning, execution strategically. We were doing a lot of PR and media relations, all of that as well. So Bucyrus Museum is all of that as well. So Bucyrus Museum is Patrick led a marketing communications plan for that growing museum in South Milwaukee. Moran's Pub is a growing sports pub in South Milwaukee that's had a large event in Oak Creek that we really supported, a World Cup viewing party. UW Milwaukee, we're doing a FlexRide video through them. So a varied mix of clients, small numbers so far, but growing, and really looking out for 2023 as we grow. And we're in that growing phase. We're still 7-8 months in, but have the team to do it, and certainly the larger team to support it as well. And speaking of that larger team, I want to spend a little time, and then I'll see about Franklin, but Visit Overland Park is, I think, a really on-point example. And thankfully, I think the link's actually stayed here. But we have been working with them about 6 months now. They came, and it's a destination marketing opportunity. And we see destination marketing holistic opportunities. We're good at it. I think locally we're good at it. We're making a play on destination marketing in Wisconsin. You're the first. And we think we can do it really well for Franklin. It's all about storytelling. And it's telling the story strategically of a community. And I think that's what we bring to this thinking and that this planning, and then going from there to actually execute that plan in a way that delivers on the goals. But we really try to bring that strategic thinking as a firm. That's really solving business and client problems is really what we're about, and solving them strategically. And here, the execution is a destination marketing campaign, which we're in Franklin as well. And in this case, I mean, it's all kinds of tactics and things that we're working on and delivering for them, and they've been, we're just getting started with them. But I wanted to share a few examples here, and it literally starts with that plan and the coordination, which you'll see in the proposal in front of you. Really grounds all of our work. It really starts with that plan and the coordination, which you'll see in the proposal in front of you. Really grounds all of our work. But everything from videos for TV and web use, a passport campaign, an e-blast, is gathering assets for all and the above and more social media. We're supporting so many different efforts here on just telling that Overland Park story, and again telling that story in Franklin and other places as well. And we think we would really be very successful in doing it here and have a real passion for it. And I know students are excited about this. I want to show a few examples here. So this is an example of a TV, and I think it's aired on TV and online spot. It's a 30-second spot, and it's all this images you'll see here were shot by Truzzolo team. In this case, we would gather a lot of what you see in front of you is gathering assets. We would gather assets, our student team, with the support of the Kansas City teams, of gathering assets to support creative like this. The 15-second. Show you another example here. Where would that be? Let go, Patrick.
The thing that's different about a Vrbo vacation home, you always have the whole place to yourself. You always have the whole place to yourself.
I think you had it in the other. Go to that. Go win that little circle thing.
Is that there? That's it.
You looking for your presentation? Oh, it's probably an Explorer then.
Where did that go?
Just go down, then you're next.
It's not just going out randomly shooting things. It's really starting with that strategy and working with you as a commission, working with others to really decipher what that story is. And I think a lot of the work's already been done in your case, with Theo and others, and we've even just meetings with Sean and others. I think we we've got a good start there. But I think there's more work to be done there. But once we start there, but I think there's more work to be done there. But once we settle on that story, we go, okay, we get to work, and we start gathering assets like this. Another- So you can see the examples, right, of what they're showing there, and it's it's small businesses, it's parks and recreation, it's
No. Quick. I don't know.
I love you. But showing aspects of the Overland Park story. In this case, aspects of the Franklin story, and we know that story is a diverse and varied one. It certainly includes the Rock. It has to be more than the Rock and all that's offered there. We understand that, but I know it personally. I've lived it, and it's a small business story. It's a parks story. It's an art story. It's an events story. It's a lot of different aspects of that story, and we're excited to dive into that and tell that really broad and varied story that includes the Rock, but it goes beyond that and tells a really holistic story of the city and tell that story to the right audience in the right way at the right time. And that's where a couple executions you see here. Next slide shows a couple more. I mean, these are it's all about consistency and delivering these executions across various touch points to various audiences. And we strategically work with you to identify those and bring them to life investment. And we think for what we have in front of you, which is a 2-year proposal, that we think we can deliver that and deliver that really, really well with and for you. And again, starting with that strategy and delivering the right audience, right message to the right audience at the right time in the right way. That's what this is really about. I think that's what destination marketing is really about. So that's a little bit about our firm. And before I move on to the Franklin piece, is there any questions about how we go to market? It's a little bit different, but in the end, it's I think the best of both worlds, where you bring the Gen Z insights and the Gen Z really strong creative work to life, along with the support of this larger firm that's been doing this for 30 plus years. And but I just wonder, and you have me alongside to help with that as well. So what I bring to the table. But any questions about who we are and what we're trying to do? Otherwise, I can certainly move on to. Any questions about who we are and what we're trying to do? Otherwise, I can certainly move on to our proposal.
If we move on, I think, Ray, we can back to.
So here's what this is in front of you. More details in front of you right now. It breaks it down and talks about with that research and plan. We stress enough how important that strategic plan is to guide this. We've found, and this is across many communities, as we start to really look at destination marketing, even in Wisconsin among communities. I saw it in South Milwaukee when I was mayor, is that so few communities really have a real strategic plan to do this. And to spend 6 figures and $300,000-$400,000, whatever the number is, in a given year, whatever you bring in hotel tax, and I think it's around that, but nonetheless, whatever the investment is, spending that money strategically is super important. And that's where we can help communities in guiding them in that effort. Exploring the actual campaign, the asset development begins quickly, continues throughout the life of the campaign. Then it becomes the fun part in a way. I suppose all this is fun for me, fun for the team, but campaign execution and really what are we doing? How much does it cost? How are we bringing this campaign to life? A lot of our work, as proposed in here, goes to that, and we were purposeful in that. That we know some of this earlier work has been done, and it wouldn't take us very long to get to that point of, say, asset development, campaign execution. So we understand that you need us to get to work, and we're ready to get to work, but you got to have this first couple phases first, and then we also have community engagement. We think that's part of this story. We're really good at, I think, at Carl Collective, and have been really good for all those clients in delivering strong earned media support. But it's more than that. But that's a big part of it, is telling that story of Franklin through existing channels and platforms that maybe you're not right now. We work with you on every day of Franklin through existing channels and platforms that maybe you're not right now. We work with you on a retainer basis as a proposal in front of you to do that. So while you'll have this larger campaign to share in various ways with various audiences, we think there's an opportunity ongoing starting immediately on PR and media relations as well. So opportunity ongoing starting immediately on PR and media relations as well. So it's all referenced in there. The number you see is a 2-year investment we're proposing in that range. So averages, it's about $100,000 a year, but we think it's an incredible value for you all, and I think you will be happy you spend telling that Franklin story strategically. So, I won't go into incredible detail on the proposal as you'd like me to, but you have it in front of you, and I have it on my computer right now.
The 185,000 doesn't include the actual development of.
It does.
Oh, it does.
It does.
So, like, if we would make a commercial or make some sort of PA pitch, all of that is in the 185 to 220.
Yep. So, so if you look at phase 3 on your document, I think it's page 2. Phase 3 can those to be used at Franklin Field, gathering. Yes, it does. And now, strategy will guide this. But yes, it includes assets. That range at least includes assets. Now, there would be a limit. You'd have to figure this out exactly what that looks like. But yes, this is an all-in number. Includes assets and media. The media buying piece is important. And you certainly could adjust this. The more you spend, the more media you get. But we also do that as well, which I think is another value add that our firm offers. We're really good at buying media in markets across the country, and we strategically do that. We work to get you the best prices. We have a whole team in the city, and that we would do that here as well. So not only would we work with you to create the plan, gather the assets, do the creative, and then we actually would work with you to purchase the media as well, based on the strategy and the plan.
Do you have any more questions? Do you have any more on the presentation here?
No, I think that is it. Yep. I wanted to, at a high level, put it here on the screen, knowing that you've got a discussion to have internally. You've got a discussion to have internally. You've got a proposal in front of you. I think is a strong one that we are excited about delivering for you, and we think will go a long way in telling that story, and importantly, working with others, right? And I know you're going to be talking tonight about Engage Franklin, and importantly, working with others, right? And I know you're going to be talking tonight about Engage Franklin, and we're excited to work with them, alongside them, however you want to do that. We work with partners all the time, through the commission, through Engage Franklin. However you decide you want this to work, we are excited to get to work and start delivering stuff like Overland Park, this storytelling, that really creative way, and I think we'll be a great partner for you, a local one that brings a really innovative approach, starting with who we are and how we operate. I'm happy to take additional questions.
Any questions?
So it's
So we were.
it could. Well, if we decide, for instance, like let's say the execution piece, you want that to be part of it. We created a range in here. So campaign execution, if part of that campaign to you is that, we could talk. So I guess where the strategy defines this to a point. So I mean, if there's a new, I don't think at all, but if even some tweaks or things like that, we can advise on that, social things like that. So the execution number is meant to be a little yet to be defined, but there's an execution number in it.
Hey Jeff, we can talk about that when we go into close. When Eric and I were talking, you're right. We do have a site that needs to be activated and maintained. I was looking at it as right now no one knows about the site, that maybe it would be best suited if we try marketing our city before we get more additional funds and then go into the site, but this can all be reworked however we want to. Plus there was Engage Franklin piece that they would take over our site if we wanted them to.
So there could, I would say, I've seen Celebrate Franklin. Just looked at it actually a couple hours ago before we came over here, and I think there's some easy type changes that can be made right now to make it more engaging. So to me, it's not a redo. Changes that can be made right now to make it more engaging. So to me, it's not a redo. Maybe it's not anything change, but I think the click here does matter, right? So like in those two words, I say it this way a lot. The important word is not the click; it's the here. Like that has to start with strong content. So I think you have a lot of this content. You've got a brand and a logo, which again, we're not proposing, but that has to start with strong content. So I think you have a lot of this content. You've got a brand and a logo, which again, we're not proposing to do anything with that. The here matters. So the materials matter, like TV spots, the videos, the other, social posts. But the website, we want to look at that. But yeah, I don't think it's at all a holistic change unless you.
I don't know if there's a lot that, other than putting content on the site, it would be just more somebody contractually, like, using the site and incorporating it into the marketing spends. It's already built.
Yep, you've already got it.
To be utilized.
You have the infrastructure.
And
And then people
Yeah.
stop going.
yeah, shouldn't be you and I, right? Like,
Let's say it right. I mean, that could be part of this as well, or it could be.
That was my
Other-
question, whether they're gonna be, adding some of this social media stuff to their
yeah,
website.
they could.
To add it, because that brings,
We could add it into where maybe it replaces something in a line of something else, and they control our site. And
So I'd suggest, in fact, that strategy and plan is so important. It will guide our actions. And if you decide you come in at a certain number and you want it spent in this way versus that way, or you want this execution please to be different, that's where we can figure this out. I mean, I think it can be social, it can be websites. We do all of that. Patrick has done this. I mean, I've as a firm, our students, our broader team. Yeah, I think, but the here matters, right? So we want to make sure that that story is being told the right way, on whatever touch point that we're sending people to. So if you have a TV spot on YouTube, if your YouTube spot, 15 seconds, where they go after that, we want to make sure we're telling the right story that way too. But again, you've got a great start here. The assets, at least the infrastructure, I'd say asset development is a big part of our plan because I think we can do better in visually gathering those assets for Franklin for sure.
So, I'm sorry, for media placement, how do you research or decide what markets place the media? Directed.
Yeah, good questions. It's a science. Shelly on our team in Kansas City is our media buying expert. I mean, she's just buying Super Bowl ads, lamenting the fact of how expensive they were. Even the local buys were expensive. But no, it is a science, and we haven't. I'm not going to pretend to know that exact answer. Then it's were expensive. But no, it is a science, and we haven't. I'm not going to pretend to know that exact answer. Then we've got people that do that and figure out where's the best bang for the buck to buy it in digital spaces, in TV, in streaming services. It's a complex universe out there. But thankfully, we've got people that are on our team and our broader team.
I also think it depends on what you're spending that on. Like if you're trying to market an event, you're not going to big billboard all over the city. It's going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars, and you're not going to get much reach. So I think it's more of a criteria that eventually, over whoever we work with as a marketing firm, or and what type of reach they've gotten, and we can help determine that.
I think that is the value we bring, absolutely.
What about our focus is greater Milwaukee market? Is that what we're looking at? Are we looking at accessing some data from state tourism to find out where visitors are coming from?
I think that's that's a great question. I think the plan and strategy will yield some of those answers. And we'll want to do some, the research that maybe already exists and get our hands on that, crunch the numbers. But no, I think that's a great question. Like defining that market is super important at the front end.
One of the
Who
things
were you talking to? Who do you want to talk to?
One of the things I told Eric is that we already spent a lot of money on research through Theo that I get, but there should be things that we can use that to save on some funding. I think that's why this number is a little lower than what he first pitched.
We brought it down purposely because I'm looking forward to diving into that data. We have some data at our fingertips too, and knowledge, but I will want to really hone with you all who are we really trying to go after here. But and obviously it's about heads and beds is a big part of this, and the spending of your tourism tax or hotel tax is starts there. So okay, maybe where are folks coming from currently? Where do you want them to come from? I certainly think The Rock is a good place to start. I mean, I'm not having the single biggest reason people come to Franklin currently. Okay, where are they coming from? So I mean, we'll want to work and gather as much data that exists already that we can get our hands on, and without doing it much more of a dive than I think we probably have from what John's explained at our fingertips enough to really start answering some of these questions intelligently. I won't venture much of an answer here yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, and we talked about, Ed's brought it up. Business travel is probably the genesis. Visitors, frankly. you know, I don't know how you access the data. Hotels, motels share is probably the genesis. Visitor, Franklin, you know, I don't know how you access the data. Hotels, motels share some of that confidentially.
It's a good question. I mean, I think that will be an area we'll dive into, and getting as many existing data points as we can. So,
Sure.
I mean, that's a great point. I mean, in asking your hotel partners, and for some of that, you know, at least zip codes, or where are they coming from, or right, like where are the existing folks coming from, will help answer some of that question. But then there's, you know, it's also it's a okay. You want to expand that? Is that, you know, can we do more? Can we do differently? Can we target a bit differently? You don't have to just go pull from that well either. So that's a question we'll answer strategically. But you had a question, Walter?
A couple questions and comments. Going off from that, we had a meeting with one company, and they actually bring people in from a company in the industrial park that's German owned, and they bring people in, and places that bring in sales people every so often and whatnot. How do we tap into that? Because every company handles it different depending on the size and all of that. But how do we, because you know, they're going to come and visit here at the plant, and then they're going to go downtown Milwaukee, whatnot. The other question I have is, so if you look at our situation, we're 34 square miles, we're all spread out without a discernible downtown. What currently acts as the downtown, the downtown isn't developed yet, so there's limited things to do, but there are other things to see. How do we get people to find those once they're here, instead of just going, well, hey, there's a restaurant down by Southridge, let's go there. Hey, there's a restaurant down by Southridge, let's go there. So those are some of my questions, and I'm interested to see if we have ideas or thoughts on how we tie into that. One last thing is, because there are so many places, Greendale and Oak Creek, and you know, bigger restaurants and chains and things like that, that will potentially benefit from traffic that we're bringing in. Some of the traffic that stays here is overflow from events downtown. How can we, do you think there's any way to get support and buy-in from some of the neighboring community businesses?
Great question. So I'll tackle the one you mentioned about, you know, people that are here didn't understand, you know, where to go. But I would, the other, I think you're asking the second, boundaries or care. Like if you're in town, you don't much care that 27th Street, or know that 27th Street's a boundary, right? You just keep going. I just want to go to the best restaurant that pops up on Google. So that, I would say, going back to those two relate in that, how do you promote assets? And that will, the plan will yield that, or relate in that, how do you promote assets? And that will, the plan will yield that, or a broader team will help yield that answer. But I think it starts on your phone. Think of how, at least, Patrick, how do you, you're somewhere you haven't been before, how do you find a restaurant?
So I was just up in Kansas City for a work trip. Usually the first thing I do is I type in onto my Apple Maps best restaurant or whatever I'm in the mood for, or bars or restaurants. It's something called SEO. It'll push whatever. I mean, they pay for it. I mean, some of it's
A focus. Like if we feel that driving, making, to your point to what he was just saying with the rock, making sure that other people are coming into our community, like how are they riding bikes, are they bird watching, are they doing whatever, and then keeping them here. Like if that's a focus, then that's how we can target it. But I think that's what you said is a great comment of like, how are we, what do we need to focus on in terms of this marketing plan, regardless of what direction we go in. So
It's and I think going back to that phone example, I do the same thing, right? Restaurants near me, and Google automatically feeds it. You start typing REST into Google right now, I guarantee you, it'll feed in restaurants near me. What does that look like for Franklin? To you, it'll feed in restaurants near me. What does that look like for Franklin? I don't know. What does things to do near me or things to do this weekend in Franklin, Wisconsin? You start typing in things to do near me will pop up. I mean, it just will. I think that's how a lot of people do it. They start there. Now, not everybody. Again, sometimes it's maybe signage. They start there. Now, not everybody. Again, sometimes it's maybe signage, right? So I realize in South Milwaukee, we have Grant Park, and a huge asset. Our new logo is built around it. It's a historic, beautiful 300-acre park. We have great lakefront, great beach area. People go through the park, they go to the parkway, they go to the beach, they come up from the beach, thousands, sometimes thousands at first. I'm up the hill to the beach. You look, do I go right, do I go left? Well, you didn't know that 6 blocks to your left is downtown South Milwaukee. You wouldn't know that. So we actually put a sign. FYI, there's a whole group of businesses like right over there. You may not know them. So again, it could be simple as signage. That's not simple, but it could be a way through your digitally geo-fencing. A lot of ways to do it. Just printed word at The Rock. Okay, you're in town for a baseball tournament. I've got 3 hours to kill. What the hell am I doing? I don't know. I don't care about watching it. I love my kid. I don't want to watch your kid play baseball. So what am I going to do for 3 hours? Well, I want to go get something to the park. Park's near me. Well, maybe they're not on their phone. Maybe they just want to see something in front of their face. So again, it's somebody's just tapping existing groups of people that are already here for something and making sure they know the story. There's a lot of ways to tell that story. I think it does start here, increasingly, in fact, only in a lot of ways. And what does Franklin? And then, okay, if I click here, what does that look like? Am I going to an ad? Am I going to celebrate Franklin? What am I going to? But I think it really does start there. But that's a great question. I think we'll answer some of that. I think you had asked about, too, the idea of, crossing boundaries and how do you get people that maybe in Franklin, but, have another event, they're going to a brewery game. They came for a brewery series, but they found the closest hotel they found was the Hampton. Okay. So maybe they'll eat in Franklin, maybe they'll do some other things in Franklin, they'll go to the brewery game. I think that's okay. Or maybe and that's great. I think a regional approach is a good one. And that's great. I think a regional approach is a good one. Visitors don't know boundaries. And I think, so to me, I would welcome a chance, with your permission, talk to Oak Creek, to talk to, I think technically Bernard Botanical Gardens is in Hales Corners. You can claim it as a Franklin asset as part of the park, I think is in. But again, working across boundaries makes a ton of sense because honestly, people don't think in terms of boundaries. So what does that look like? We would welcome, and that's where I think my background personally helps, and I know some of the players, and you can text the mayor of Oak Creek right now if I wanted. I think it's there, but I think telling that holistic story, certainly Franklin first, but maybe not Franklin only. But again, that's your decision to make. Is if you really want to keep it focused solely on Franklin, or there are opportunities outside of that. I think we can talk about that. For sure.
I don't know if there's an opportunity to have some synergy and do some joint marketing or something.
I would tend to pursue that with you. I think Oak Creek is ripe for that, honestly. I wished when I was in South Milwaukee that we had that. We didn't have hotels, so we didn't have this money flowing in either to do this. We tried, and we've done some marketing. I would have loved to see more of a South Shore focus. We tried a little bit. But I think a regional, holistic story you've got a lot of great assets and things to promote here, but you take that out a few miles, drive within 20 minutes, how much do you really have? More do you have? A heck of a lot more, and then everybody wins. But then that's a determination you'll have to make. We are certainly eager to pursue that if you are. Other questions?
One last one, if nobody has one. And then how do we track that? And I'm not as interested in clicks as I am actual people that come and follow through, stay or spend money.
The measurement piece, good question. I think some of it is the easy stuff, right? The low-hanging fruit of websites and social and engagement on social platform X and website Y and social platform X and website Y. And some of that's the easy low-hanging fruit is how do you get beyond that? A great question.
So we can see what's working, what's not
And
working.
we've got a history of doing that. I think we'll make a note of that and explore that. I mean, if you want, and I think measurement does have to be part of this. We will make that part of the plan. I think measuring success is a plan. I think measuring success is important beyond that. So, I mean, it's, we've done, Patrick just led a huge survey effort. There's lots of, focus groups. We've done this work, even in Milwaukee, a survey effort with talked to almost 200 students through the Marquette work he did with athletics. So survey work. So there's different tools and tactics to use, in person, digitally, etc. But our broader team certainly has experience in that. We've gotten some in Milwaukee, but yeah, measuring success is important. We would note that in the plan for sure.
Thank you, Eric.
Good. You've got everything, and sounds like you may have a good discussion here
Yeah,
tonight.
we'll be here.
Okay. I brought a tent. I could set it up outside if you want. All right. Thank you all, and thanks for your patience on the technology piece too.
All right, 6:43, closing the Carl Collective presentation. Item number 6. For this, we'll go into a closed session, conversation collective. I'm going to read the spiel. The Tourism Commission has entered closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute and 19.85 to deliberate upon the Franklin Field naming rights agreement between Franklin Tourism Commission and the Milwaukee Milkmen Baseball LLC, effective entity agreement between the Franklin Tourism Commission and Engage Franklin, negotiation of provisions and terms and the investing of public funds in relation thereto for competitive or bargaining reasons, and to re-enter open session at the same place thereafter to act on such matters discussed therein as deems appropriate. Do I have to ask for okay.
Well, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all of you, and I will look forward to your information on this. Be well.
Move that enter closed session.
Wait a second.
A second.
Be well.
Move that enter closed session.
Wait a second.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll close the door.
Yes, please. All right, H22, back from closed session. Vote contribution to Engage Franklin or Carl Collective. We are going to, there's some unresolved questions that we have in regarding Engage Franklin, so we're going to put that vote on hold. As for Carl Collective.
I make a motion to move forward with identifying our market research, making them a draft to see where we're at for best practice, not to exceed 15,000.
Can I get a vote?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right. Motion passes. All right, item number 8. Sorry, 823. Item number 8, Franklin Park Concerts contribution. So we received a letter from the concert series. That was in your packet. You see that they're asking for a dollar amount.
No.
No dollar amount. So I think what this is asking, Douglas came into our meeting a while ago asking us for some funding last year that I think we denied. And again, I guess it's coming up and they're looking for contributions to the concert series. I mean, open for discussion on how we feel about contributing.
The gentleman from New York that contact mentioned that the city had agreed to me.
I was contacted this year by a contractor from New York who's been hired by the city of Franklin. Don, do you know anything about this?
That, I think, would be for the video company, CGI, that's doing some videos. It's an agreement that we have with them, and they're selling some advertising Well, actually, yeah, they are selling some advertising, but they also are, engaging organizations like this for their information, put on the videos as well. Put on the videos as well. So there's not a cash exchange for this development, but they are reaching out for people to advertise on the video sites on the webpage for the city, as well as maybe do some of their own advertising that he's talking.
So they want us to pay to help promote.
He wants this organization, the Tourism Commission, to make a contribution to Franklin Park Concerts Incorporated. I think his allusion to this development group is just saying that the city is involved in tourism development.
So this is his way to say that he is reflected in the tourism because a company is coming to help promote. So this is his way of saying that he's part of is coming to help promote. So this is his way of saying that he's part of.
Yeah. He's just saying that the city's involved in tourism. It doesn't have anything to do with tourism. But notwithstanding, he's asking for some support for.
I think a few years ago we contributed like 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
4 years ago. I think we got, yeah, and I think it was we sponsored a concert.
We were listed in the brochure, right there was.
And the reason why we went from a change from 3 years ago to last year was based off of our mission statement that was created on how that was laid out. It has been asked, there is some head scratch mission statement that was created on how that was laid out. It has been asked, there is some head scratching in City Hall that does feel that we should contribute to events like this. And I think I can repeat that. Does feel that we should contribute to events like this. And I think I can repeat say that. And wondering why we don't.
That's part of what led to
Engage Franklin. Yep.
So that is, everybody agrees that concerts are the best brand.
Sorry. Should be more prepared.
No, I'm right here. I don't know why I put them away.
And the concern there is if we approve this one, what do we say to the next one? When this kind of a thing will go forward.
The question is, who's coming? Nobody's been coming.
Nobody has, but we haven't given any money.
People listening to the or not giving money.
Sorry,
I don't mean to.
No.
Sorry, I don't mean to.
No.
So right now, the way our budget lies, again, we do have the $100,000. We do have memberships and dues that are $1,200 that I don't know where we really aren't part of. We do have money if we would want to contribute. I don't know where it would come from either. Legal services that probably won't be used. Won't be used fully. But I already drove around and I saw that.
Oh. Barbara gave Hertz says that they get 500 to 600 people per concert, and the performances cost between $500 and $1,000, depending on who's coming in.
I don't think it hurt. I mean, about
$1,000, depending on who's coming in.
I don't think it hurt. I mean, about we want. to see the budget?
The money's in the budget.
You're looking,
We have the
so
money.
you're looking for a motion. It would say $600.
Yeah, I was gonna say, 500, but you wanna say over? I think what I'm looking for is do we feel that, if what we should do is probably put in a motion that doesn't exceed over $1,000. See if we feel that this, I mean, first off, should we gonna have a conversation if this seems a tourism, this deemed tourism? I think that should be the question we have first.
The funding for our commission comes from overnight stays, room tax. And so because of that, we use that as the reason to decline last time. And it's just a matter of we can establish a new precedent, as we will sponsor things in the city that bring people in. We potentially open ourselves up to more people coming and asking sponsorship. And if we do that, then we probably need to visit our direction.
I totally agree with that. I know I totally agree with everything you're saying. That I think that I'm comfortable putting together a vote for this, but I do feel that with the intention of, and I don't know, we can't vote on this now, but at some point on our agenda, we do have to sit down and look at our criteria of our mission statement.
Sure.
I think that was when that was put together. There's a lot of defining terms that can pinpoint that this cannot be a tourism thing.
Right.
But I do think over time it's fair to state that we thought Engage Franklin would be something like this. We also try to take care of some of this if no other commission is doing that.
I agree.
I think we all thought Engage Franklin would be a little farther along at this point.
Yeah.
I would support a one-time.
So not just because of this venture, but I think when we relate to the other venture we just talked about, right, that can be conflicting what we're just saying.
Sure.
So I think we do have to go back and revisit our mission statement. We might want to put down maybe like in after all of that is done. Okay. I would not exceed 1,000.
They haven't asked for anything.
Oh. I guess the question is we don't put anything into this. We can really easily reply to their letter, tell them to set forth an amount, or we can tell them that we'll contribute 500. They're not, to your point, they're not giving us an amount.
Oh,
I'm
so
good with
whatever
that.
you want.
No, I'm good with yours.
If
Go
you
ahead.
sent me a letter and said, we'll contribute up to $1,000,
Go ahead.
tell me what you want.
Go ahead.
They'll
Yep.
send you one for $1,000.
I'm good with the 5. I'm good with the 5.
I would move that we fund it for $500 on a one-time basis until we find out where Engage Franklin is going to.
Get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sure approval.
So will John, you send the letter to
You okay?
Always.
Okay. Voucher approvals? Do I have any? I don't have any. No voucher approvals. Next meeting. No voucher approvals. Next meeting. Right now, that meeting for January would fall the third Wednesday? Okay. That meeting for January would fall the third Wednesday? my son has baseball practice that night. He has it every other weekend. I can do it the 19th, that Thursday.
The 18th is
Schedule.
okay.
Yeah, I can't. My son
Okay.
has baseball practice that night.
Sure, sure. I thought somebody said the 19th. But okay, so you're looking at the 25th?
The 25th.
I can't do that.
We do the 11th.
Make it a
February?
quick meeting.
No, January.
We have to do it on Wednesday.
We have to do it on Wednesday. Okay, no. Can you
Well,
do it?
just find a date and I'll check the calendar.
We do the 17th.
That's common council. Yeah. Take that out.
Go out Monday. This. Yeah. Okay.
Also Martin Luther King.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that day?
Yeah. It is. 19th. Then I mean, can you do the 26th? Oh, sorry. Can you do the 24th?
I can do 24.
Wait, do 24th.
Finance at 6 o'clock.
6 p.m. 6 p.m. Okay. I can do something. I can do something during the day. Can we change the time?
Actually, we need that Monday.
23rd. Can we do 20? Can you do the 23rd? Okay, I can do the 23rd Monday. You guys do the 3rd at 6 o'clock. Okay. I need a motion for adjournment.
Move to approve. Move to.
A second.